I recently launched a public Minecraft server with a border, griefing and PvP enabled, and as we all love, wheat as the currency. I was excited to keep building on this pretty unique semi-anarchy with economy vibe when I encountered one of the most frustrating and common issues with Minecraft servers: hackers and cheaters. And I'm not talking about good old movement hacks or combat hacks, which surprisingly are handled pretty well by anti-cheat. What I'm referring to is much worse, incredibly game-breaking, sucks the fun out of the server, and specifically I'm referring to world and base hunting exploits, which are incredibly hard to detect, in some cases technically aren't really even hacks, and worst of all, make it impossible to have a base or really store anything in chests. There's various different ways to perform these exploits, but the two worst are ESP and pie charting. ESP is a client-side hack that will highlight the exact locations of chests. It's kind of like X-ray for chests. And pie chart is a vanilla exploit that leverages Minecraft's in-game pie chart on the F3 menu in order to find the general location of chests or other entities. And yes, you heard that right. Pie chart is literally part of the vanilla Minecraft game. You can do it with no hacks or anything. It doesn't give you the pinpoint locations of chests like ESP does, but nonetheless, it's still incredibly powerful. These exploits can get completely out of control, and no matter how hard you hide your base or chests, it's just gonna get raided. And in some cases, it can get so bad that players of your server will secretly get together and scheme a protest through lag machines in order to raise awareness to this important world issue and to try and get the server admins to patch these exploits and protect the players. So in order to save the server before everyone quit, I desperately needed some sort of solution to this issue. The first thing I tried was manual moderation. I started by making an announcement that essentially said, hey, if what you're doing looks like ESP, then you're gonna get banned for ESP. And I also installed a plugin called Core Protect so that we could see who interacted with the blocks around these ESP incidents. I would also occasionally spectate some known ESPers, which led to some interesting clips, but took up a lot of time. And that was really the whole theme of manual moderation. It took a lot of time, it was difficult to prove that the person really was cheating, and overall there was tons of confusion and subjectivity. This clearly wasn't scalable, and we couldn't keep up with all the reports, so I started looking into automated anti-cheat. Before doing this, I installed ESP hacks on my Minecraft client, and I was immediately blown away by just how easy it was to ESP. But nonetheless, anti-cheat can only go so far with these exploits, because remember, things like pie chart are literally part of the game, and any solution that really did cut down on all ESP or pie chart exploits would cause a lag storm bigger than when I tried to self-host the grand opening of raid farms. So despite tinkering with anti-cheat for multiple days, the best I could do was find a partial solution that would at least cut down on the extreme ESP incidents, such as digging straight to a chest that was buried behind 20 blocks of stone by itself. Altogether, I realized that anti-cheat is still going to be a never-ending battle, and I really need a better, long-term solution that will completely crush ESP. So what do most servers out there do? Well, if you do a quick scroll down any Minecraft server list out there, you'll quickly see tons and tons of land claim, just endless land claim, which, don't get me wrong, is super effective, but is kind of like killing a fly with a rocket launcher, and worst of all, goes against some of the key principles I've laid out in this series where I'm attempting to make Minecraft servers fun again. Land claim just isn't fun. I've already talked about this in other videos, but overall, it just completely kills the ability to interact with the world, and to an extent hurts player interaction as well. Everyone just joins, builds their base and claims a bunch of land, and all of a sudden everyone's just living alone in their own little land claim, and the entire world is completely static and kind of boring. And worst of all, on a competitive semi-anarchy server like raid farms, free-for-all land claim just wouldn't work at all. So while land claim is great at preventing players from losing all of their stuff from base exploiters, we just need a more balanced solution that protects players, isn't overpowered, promotes player interaction. And hey, remember how wheat was our currency and it's kind of worthless right now? Well, let's create protected, predefined plots that cost wheat. And by plots, I'm not exactly referring to something like land claim. Instead, I'm referring to something like Conehaven Studios, which just opened up on raid farms a couple weeks ago. This is an extremely limited, but also cozy and efficient apartment complex with each room being a 3x3 studio, providing players with a shelter and some storage for their important items in exchange for 5,000 wheat every 2 weeks. This is vastly more balanced than infinite free-for-all land claim. It ensures that the rest of the world outside of the apartments is still highly interactive and not locked down by any land claiming, and it also promotes player interaction, and not because you'll probably hear your upstairs neighbors stomping around at midnight, but because even if you do manage to get yourself an apartment room, you're still gonna have to venture out into the semi-anarchy, chaotic world and compete with other players or team up with other players so that you can farm enough wheat to pay your rent and not get evicted. Now, while these plots are small and very limited, I imagine a world someday where the wealthy players could buy standalone homes, build their own estates, or heck, maybe even start their own village. So if you're looking for balanced protection from the worst Minecraft server exploit, consider joining raid farms and renting out a room at Conehaven Studios. The server IP as well as other relevant links will be listed below, and hopefully I'll see you there.